news host, and then he's good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is your host, Jania Butler, for the New American Perspective. We are, it's great to see everyone yet again. I'm on location, remote in Miami, Florida, and we're here today to talk about what's happening in the United States. We got so many things going on. We got so many things to worry about. It's the holiday season, ladies and gentlemen. Happy holidays for whatever holiday you celebrate going forward. And we have a inauguration coming up January 20th. We're fast tracking to that inauguration. How are you feeling about stuff? How are you feeling about the president elect and his picks? I was just talking about how we have um, how Matt Gaetz has already jumped ship for this administration. President Trump picked him to be the Attorney General, which I thought was crazy. He knew that he wasn't going to get picked to be the Attorney General, so he jumped ship. But what did happen was Matt Gaetz did get out of his congressional probing about the lawsuits that were against him. So was that a setup, or was that, a planned attempt? I think it was a planned attempt to get him out. Um, President Trump, we know, has been the best that ever did it as far as having 32 counts of 32 criminal counts in the United States and winning as the president. I think he will go down in history greater than Lincoln, people. So we also have Pete Hegseth. Pete Hegseth is President Trump's pick for the Secretary of Defense. Now, he comes out of being a live Fox News host, and people loved him, and President Trump loved his commentary. And, President Trump is paying back his base. And Pete Hegseth, he got called out, and he has some lawsuits against him going forward. So, but President Trump is sticking with him, and President Trump is saying that he's going to go with Pete Hegseth. I think that he knows that the Senate is not going to confirm him, but needs to find somebody else that fits that bill before he goes and jumps and calls somebody else's name. I'm here in Miami, so you'll see a little activity. You may hear a little activity. I'm here at a beautiful cafe. So I have a great guest today, Leroy Jackson. He'll be getting on with us and giving us his take on what's happening in the United States. And I had a great conversation earlier of what's going to happen with the black and the brown folks, right? We know that day one, President Trump is going to push the button on getting at least the criminally charged migrants out of the country. And so I'm assuming that he's gonna sweep the jails and sweep anybody that's had a crime, that has had a charge since they've been here, and they're sending them back to Mexico. Now, President Trump, he also met with Canadian Trudeau, the Canadian President Trudeau, the other day, to talk about how we're going to negotiate and how we're going to work with the Canadian borders, because there's a lot of people running to Canada and coming through Canada as well. So the Mexican president, first female president of Mexico, said that she's willing to work with with Americans, and they said that the migration has been down since she's been in charge. So don't look at us like, throwing up tariffs, because they said if you throw up the tariff, President Trump, we're going to throw up some tariffs too. So we've got to really look at how we're moving, because people say that these tariffs might not be the way, but no stopping President Trump full steam ahead. He is working now, and I think he's never stopped working, and I think that he's working for the American people. But a lot of people are saying, are they going to try to assassinate him again? And I think that's what we all have to worry about. I think that if he makes it through these 4 years, I think America will be great. Now, we always have to look at whether that great is great again, or great for the first time, or, great try, whatever it is. I think that if once he goes forward, I think that his heart is in the right place. And I think that whatever he's done in the past, excuse me, whatever he's done in the past, I think that he wants to correct that by serving America. We have so many great things. Now, there's very few people of color that he's picked for his for this transition administration. Now, he did pick the housing for the housing and urban development. There's a black gentleman, formerly of the NFL, that he did pick for that, and he is the only one. Now, this is very interesting when we talk DEI. He is one of the only ones that is not being criticized and crucified and saying that he is not qualified to be in this. So let's look again at that DEI. Who's really DEI here? And so Linda McMahon, he picked her to be the education secretary. She's the former wife of WWE CEO Vince McMahon, and so he picked her, and she's got some, some charges against her as well. So we just wonder who, what, when, where, why, how this is all going to play out, and how it's going to play its part in American politics. We have a lot going on. You have Jay Z. He was just charged along with P. Diddy with raping a 13-year-old back in 2000 at the Video Music Awards. This is crazy, but at the same time, I think that America is getting a reality check that it needs. Now, I don't believe that Jay-Z of today would touch or even look at a 13-year-old girl, but I think Jay-Z of the past may have overlooked that this girl, or the girls that were in his presence, may have been um, sorry, I'm having a great meal as well here, but I think the girls of the past may have been younger than they looked. I know that I was a young girl in the clubs trying to, act like I was older than I was, and people didn't know, and people didn't care at the time. So now we look at that and we say, could this happen? And so, what is the NFL going to say about that? I think the NFL can take another hit when it comes to uh, money. They're not going to take another hit. So is the NFL going to back out on Jay Z? He's got this great NFL halftime show with Kendrick Lamar this year, and now he's charged with raping a 13-year-old girl. So he has a lot at stake. America has a lot at stake. Where are we going to go with it? And that's what we're going to talk about today on this great show. Okay, so as I said, President Trump's picks, they said President Trump doesn't like a lot of women. I think that he's got a lot of women in his picks since then, but no women of color. And so we have to fix that, President Trump, going forward. Is that, again, you guys are talking about DEI and we want people to get it on merit, but you're actually picking people based on your love for them and not necessarily the merit in their current activities, because a lot of these people haven't done the job that he's picking them for. So when we talk about DEI, we talk about Walmart. Walmart dropped their DEI really quick, and I think it's just because they want to spend money in a different way. And a lot of the companies, they jumped up during the George Floyd time, and they said, "Oh, we're doing DEI, DEI," and I think that was their fault. That wasn't something that we picked. It was something that they decided to jump on board and put a lot of money in. And, and I don't know how it worked out, but now they're just jumping ship. But look at what Walmart did that I really don't like. Walmart canceled their DEI program, and then they put Buster Rhymes as um, as the marketing. He's doing commercials for Walmart at this point. I don't think that Buster Rhymes, knew what he was getting into, but they're definitely using him as a scapegoat and saying, "Look, it's not that we don't want to use black or brown folks. Look, we got Buster Rhymes right here, and he's co-signing us, and he's really not. He's really not paying attention to it. He's really looking at the bottom line. He's really looking at the money that's coming, that's associated with it. And so we've got to learn how not to divide, and how to not let people divide and conquer us when we're pushing forward. Because this DEI thing, we've got to figure out which direction it's going in, which direction that we're looking at, and how we move forward with that. And so let's look at that. So when you get a chance to see that Walmart commercial, tell me how you feel, because he's doing it for the holidays and everything like that. But that's a scapegoat. They didn't want the press to come after them to say that they're the first to dump their DEI program. And that's what all the Republicans are talking about. Now, I'm a Republican, and I am against the point of pushing away affirmative action in DEI, because there's been studies to show that there is dissension in when you're looking to hire people of color. White people naturally believe that they are better qualified, that they are better for the job than any other person of color. So how are we going to get forward in this if they're saying no, it's on merit, but they're still only hiring white folks? So we have to definitely look at that going forward and look at how that actually plays a part. Now, so Stephen A. Smith. You might know Stephen A. Smith from his sports show. Stephen A. Smith comes from ESPN, the Sports Network. He's been getting very, very buddy, and very, very chiming in with um, Hannity and Bill O'Reilly. So he's having a show. I think he's got a show with Hannity. So he is breaking the color lines and now saying, now saying that he wants to be a part of the Republican Party without saying he wants to be a part of the Republican Party. But we know Stephen A. Smith is a smart man, and Stephen A. Smith is just connecting the dots where the dots need to be connected. And so we have to look at that, though. We have a lot of Democrats now jumping ship and saying, I don't want to go. We've got the tanking of MSNBC, Reverend Al Sharpton taking $500,000 before before the interview with Kamala Harris. Now MSNBC is on the ropes. They're looking to sell. Comcast is looking to sell MSNBC. Elon Musk has jumped in the conversation and said he's going to buy MSNBC. Now I don't know how true that is, but that would be very funny. Don't you think that he's looking to buy MSNBC after MSNBC trashed the Republican Party and went down the drains doing it? Rachel Maddow had to take a huge pay cut for what they were saying. And they were saying that, people just don't want to hear the rhetoric of the hate towards anybody that's Republican. You shouldn't have to, there's, as I always say, no more shame, no more shame, no more shame. Choose the party that you want to be with and fight for the things that you want to fight for at the same time. So again, so MSNBC is out. Stephen A. Smith is in. You have Power 105, Charlemagne the God, jumping all over the place. He has a new book. Um, I'll be lying to tell you if I knew exactly what it was, but it was, comes off 50 cents, get rich or die trying. It may be get rich or die lying, but it's something to that effect. But he's out promoting his book. He was on The View with Whoopi Goldberg. Did you hear it? He challenged Whoopi Goldberg on The View and said that when President Biden pardoned Hunter Biden, we had to talk about that too, that President Biden pardoned Hunter Biden. When he did that, he was actually um, he was actually uh, he originally President Biden said, "Oh, he's not going to get involved in the justice system, and he would never pardon Hunter Biden before the election, right?" And so, right after the election, President Biden said, "Oh no, I'm going to pardon my son. The Justice Department is about to do him in." And this was right before he was about to get sentenced because he got charged. Now, the thing with that is we have videos circling the internet where President Biden is saying 1 ounce of crack cocaine gets you 5 years, no, nothing, right? Doesn't matter. I don't care why they're doing it. And then you turn around and pardon your son. So I think the Democrats should definitely be up in arms at some of the things that's happening and some of the things that he's doing, because where do we go from here if the president is lying to the Democratic Party? And we knew that he was lying. We knew that he would pardon President Trump. But like Charlemagne said to Whoopi Goldberg, it's a contradiction. And for you to say that it's not a contradiction, and for you to say that, working with the Republican Party in this, and saying that the Republican things that the Republicans doing are contradictory and not the Democrats, there's something wrong with that. So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk with Leroy Jackson, and I'm going to have some tea, and I'm going to be here in Miami, and I wish you could join me. I'm sorry it's so cold out there, but we'll be right back with Millennium News 24. My name is Jania Butler, and I'm your host, The New American Perspective. Look forward to seeing you when I come back.
You are good. I didn't know you had that talent. I did not know. You just.
And we are back. Look at my nice little meal here in the coffee shop early this morning. And so, again, we are talking Hunter Biden being pardoned. We are talking Hunter Biden being pardoned. We're talking Charlemagne the God. And again, Charlemagne the God, I am actually glad that he is waking up to the instances and to the things that are going on. However, you're only waking up so you can keep your face in the TV. Let's be real. You're only waking up for that point, because when it was time to wake up, you still have Stephen A. Stephen A, he has post-traumatic stress about when the Democrats went with him about being voting for Trump. And every time Stephen A gets on now, he says, "Oh, I didn't vote for Trump. Let me just be clear. I didn't vote for Trump, and I wasn't going to vote for Trump." But we got to wonder about that, Stephen A. We got to wonder where you're coming from and why you feel so grand about it. And then he also talked about the pardon for Hunter Biden. People are up in arms about that. How did you feel? Did you feel like Joe Biden should have pardoned his son? I mean, any man is going to pardon his son, but the man that says that he's not going to pardon his son, that's what we got to look at. Now I'm going to have a little bite of this avocado and see how it is, and then you guys can come join me over here in Miami. Great. So now again, Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden had charges. He had two charges. One, crack cocaine. We know that Hunter has an addiction problem, and I don't know if he's taking care of it. I don't know if he's in remission. I don't know where he's at with it. But we have video of the laptop, and now Facebook is under scrutiny too because the laptop. And so all the while where where Facebook pushed and suppressed President Biden, President Biden's actions against his son during and saying, oh, the laptop wasn't real and all that. Now we find out the laptop is real. So President Biden, would he have would he have made it to office if we knew that the laptop was real, the Facebook didn't suppress everything that's going on with the laptop? Would we have known that? And so would he be the president is the real question. And we know, it probably been the affirmative because there was everything against President Biden coming in, now we see that he has a bout of Alzheimer's that he has to work with. And I think he's doing better than he was when Vice President Kamala Harris, who we haven't heard from her since the trail. And I think that she's just, licking her wounds. And we'll talk about how Leroy Jackson thinks that the Democrats are going to run her again. I think not. What do you think about that? Because I don't think that they're going to run her on the next election because I mean it was so miserably bad. And like I said, Al Sharpton took $500,000 and she was paying everybody. She spent over $1 billion and is in debt after 90 days. I mean, she did what she could. And like I said before, I applaud her for fighting a suicide, fighting in a suicide mission because I doubt that she really, I think that President Barack Obama and everybody, said, well, let's go ahead and get this money and keep the black vote. I think that was the end of the scenario that they were looking at. Take me a little, amazing. I'm having salmon, poached salmon, eggs on a bagel. It is amazing here in Miami, Florida. But again, where are we going? Barack Obama finessed the scenario. We had Oprah. We've seen all these people took all this money, and then they turned around and said, well, that was for the production, and I had to pay my people. But couldn't you just pay your people to be there? So your $1 million that you took for setup and the show, she spent $10 million on entertainment. She brought out Megan Thee Stallion, Glorilla, and they were just the wrong entertainers to bring out. And see, that's what we have to look at from the hip hop community. People will use us as fast as they can and don't have any merit. Do you think that Kamala Harris have respect for Glorilla? Do you really think that? Do you think that she had respect for her to come and perform? They just told her, listen, you're gonna get some numbers out of this, you're gonna get some votes. But they did not translate into votes because our community is not stupid. And we may not get out the vote all the time. And I think, and I like I always say, I think the problem with us getting out the vote, and I think the problem with us stepping up to the vote is simple. It's simple. We know that there's a Jedi mind trick going on when it comes to the vote. We know that, right? But you all think that we don't vote because we're stupid. No, we're not stupid. We're smart for not being involved. Now, when Barack Obama was going to become the president and he had that hair of wool, we ran out there like you don't know, like nobody has seen before. And they tried to do it again with Kamala, but they used the tactics to say, oh, well, this is a black woman, and you 1 ounce of black, and you're black, and all of this, and tried to dismiss everything else and think that we don't know our own people. Now, women, 78% of Black America still did not vote for President Trump. Okay, so does that mean that President Trump is not going to look at the Black community? But I think that President Trump is happy that he got the best numbers since Lyndon B. Johnson. And shout out to AJ Castamatidis and the Manhattan Republican Party because I was part of their diversity efforts back in 2017, 2016, when they started inviting Black and Latino people to the party. And so at that point, we began to look at what's happening. And I told you, I was able to tell Donald Trump Jr., listen, tell your father to go after the Black vote. Tell your father that we are open season. Don't listen to the pundits like Al Sharpton and Joy Reid and these people who contend to hate President Trump and hate anything Republican. I told them, listen, we are open season. We want a conversation. We want to expand our ability in America. And I think in this next 4 years, we will be able to do just that. And I'm looking forward to that going forward in this new administration. Let me take a little sip real quick. So again, so we haven't seen Vice President Kamala Harris. She came out once, I think, for was it the 9/11? She came out, or was it? Oh, I think it was Thanksgiving. She came out for Thanksgiving, and she looks a little glum in the face, and I would like to hear from her a little more because I don't want them to make it look like the Black woman, the so-called Black woman, messed up the election, but that's what it looks like. And then we see President Biden sitting down all easily he was a terrorist a minute ago, and now President Biden is saying, "Oh, good job." So the American public got to see that a lot of this rhetoric wasn't true. Because if there was a Nazi in the White House, I think that President Biden should have turned his back and say, "I might have to be here, but I'm not shaking this man's hand because he's about to turn America on his head." What he told him, he said, "Congratulations on your win, sir, and we're gonna go with that, and we'll have a smooth transition." What? A smooth transition after everything that y'all talked about, everything that he said it was. But what I was most proud about this last election was the black man stood up, and 20% of the black men said they want to change in America. And I think that says everything for our communities. And I'm glad the black man will be over housing and urban development. I look forward to working with him, and look forward to him on President Trump's number 11 elective, and talking about rebuilding cities. And I think that is important in how we're going to talk about it. And we'll talk with Leroy Jackson again about how he looks to rebuild cities in America going forward, and how that looks, how that looks, and what we need to do, and whose participation that we need, and everything. So let me take another bite because this is wonderful. So Hunter, he's free. He's quiet. He's not saying anything else. And nobody else is saying anything else now. They're just focused on Trump's picks and what's going to happen. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be upset. Excuse my chewing. I know a lot of people are going to be upset about what happens, and I'm worried that they are going to try to assassinate him. You have Elon Musk and Vivek Ramsway talking about how they are going to go into the IRS and clean house. They going back. They are auditing the IRS. So now I think a lot of us are not mad at that, because I think the IRS needs to be audited. But when the IRS gets audited, what's going to come out when it comes to that? So they're looking to do it. And then what's the guy's name that's running, that he's got as the FBI, the head of the FBI? He talking about that he want to close the FBI down for a little while so he can get it together and then open it back up with a new face. And everybody is scared. Everybody is scared of change. And so the real question is America ready to change? Elon then put up the new robot Optimus. He's running around in people's houses, washing clothes and watching the babies and things of that nature. So we are moving into a new direction, but can we handle it? And will they attempt? And does President Trump have the support uh, from his Secret Service to keep him safe for 4 years and not make not one mistake, right? Because we've seen in the past, presidents have gotten shot. John F. Kennedy shot in his car. I mean, he was out in the open, and I don't think President Trump is doing any of that without the real looks at this point anymore. Because when he originally got the assassination attempt, they did nick his ear, so the guy wasn't ready to be shot. The guy wasn't the best sharpshooter that they can get in the game. And how about this United healthcare worker? We're going to take a break in a minute, but this United healthcare worker, Brian, I'm sorry that I don't have his last name right in front of me, but Brian, um, he actually got shot, and now they have supposedly found the shooter. His name is Luigi, and I'll get his name after the break. But his name is Luigi, and they took him in Pennsylvania, Altoona, Pennsylvania. They're saying that he's from Maryland, and that he had issues um, with healthcare, and but he had a silencer, but he stood up all night, and he had It said he had a $5,000 worth of cash in his pocket, his passport, and he's in Altoona, Pennsylvania. I don't know. Now they're matching his smiles up and saying this is the same smile. I don't know. They're saying that he has said that, you know, this is, I did this alone. But then his lawyer is saying that there's no evidence for him actually shooting the guy. So I don't know where we're at with that one. I rest in peace to the United Healthcare CEO, because I doubt that he knew that he was being targeted in that manner. But we also, what's being swept under the table is that um, he was about to be investigated by the Department of Justice. So what's that about? And they're sweeping that under the table and now making Luigi smile, the smile of all times. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go to a break, and I'm gonna come back with Leroy Jackson, and we'll let Leroy talk. He just had a brilliant breakfast, and we're gonna let Leroy talk and tell us about what he's got going on and what's happening. So we'll be right back with the New American Perspective on Millennium News 24. I'm your host, Jania Butler, and I'll see you soon. And we are back. I'm here in Miami, Florida, having a wonderful brunch, and I'm here with Leroy Jackson, who's about to tap in, and we're going to talk about some more things that are happening right now. There's so much going on in America, and we've got to figure out what part we play, where we're going to be come January 21st. Isn't it really interesting that this year, Martin Luther King's birthday observed? His birthday is on January 15th. So isn't it clear that oh, you had to, yeah. That uh his he's going observe. This is Leroy walking behind me. He's going to get on. But his birthday observe is on January 20th. So it will be the same day as the inauguration. What about that? And how's that going to play out? And is Reverend Al Sharpton putting up his protest for January 20th? What is going to happen? But I'm hearing that the Black church is condemning Reverend Al Sharpton and wants him suspended from MSNBC. I haven't dived too deep into that right now, but what is that about? I know the people are not turning on my guy, Reverend Al Sharpton. He has done his job for the Black community and stand up and being a voice, and now the Black community is saying, I ain't with it, Al. So we'll have to look into that. I'm going to see if Leroy is ready to come on. Is Leroy ready to come on? I'm looking around for him. I think he's ready to pop on. If you could put on Leroy Jackson, that would be wonderful. And so, again,
Can you hear
there
me?
you go. There he is. We see you, Leroy. Can
Okay,
you
can you
see
hear
us?
me?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Put the camera around your face, Leroy. Pull
Okay,
it
I'm
up a
trying
little
to
bit.
get
There we go. There you go.
there we go. I'll get
Let's see.
there.
He's telling
Okay,
on us. There you go. Oh,
there you
perfect.
go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how's everybody doing?
Yeah, this is my great friend and confidant, Leroy Jackson. And Leroy, tell them a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm an old man, you can see that, right? And I've done a few things. I started my career as a boxing manager, and I managed George Foreman until he lost to Muhammad Ali. And then I gave up after that. But anyway, that's a long story. But what I want to talk about today is the plight.
You got stuck, Leroy. I'm wondering if Leroy knows that he's stuck. But I'm sure that he'll chime back in a second. And so, again, you see, we have a great conversation coming up with Leroy Jackson. As soon as he chimes back in, again, I'm having a great brunch here. What's the name of this? What's the name of this place? Malua. Malua. So I'm here at Malua Cafe in Miami, South Beach, Miami, and I'm having a great meal. So when you are in town, make sure that you visit Malua Cafe, where the coffee is great and it is just wonderful. We're waiting for Leroy to get back on, but as we wait for him, what? Who are some of your picks? Who are some of the picks that you would like to see President Trump? Who were some of the picks that you would like to see President Trump uh, get get together? Who are some of those picks? Because I believe Kimberly Goldford, she is now the ambassador of Greece. So he named her the ambassador of Greece. Um, I think that we just need to get down to the nitty gritty of what's happening and what's going on for our communities. Now, our communities, you know, our communities are, they're behind on things as always. And I don't want to fall behind the next 4 years because of that. I don't want to fall behind the next 4 years based on the fact that we don't want to engage with President Trump. But I think that we should be focused on as entrepreneurship goals and rebuilding our communities. We've got the Black men ready to step up. And I think that this goes a long way when it comes to stuff. I had conversations. I was out here in Art Basel, and I was out here and I talked to a lot of people, and what they were concerned with, their current concerns were the fact that, okay, what's next? We voted for him. Now, was this a joke? That's what one of the gentlemen, DJ Alamo from Sicklerville, New Jersey, had said to me. Is this a joke? What is going to happen to us? And what is he going to do for us? And I don't think it's what President Trump is going to do for us, but I think it's what we put on the table for President Trump to do. And I think that's for all communities. I think all communities need to present their plan, because who is this one man or the people that, he's electing to lead? They don't know about our community, so it's not them, it's us. And that's what I've been on. I just know that the administration that has been in existence since then, the administration has just not the Democratic administration has their own agenda, and they already know what they're going to do, and they don't tell the American people. And that's why I wanted them out of the way. Okay, big time. That's why I wanted them out of the way, because I was worried about us continuing to go down this thing and them believing that our communities have to be downtrodden. Our communities don't have to be downtrodden. Our communities don't have to be the way that we are. I want to shout out to 50 Cent, Curtis Jackson, who's doing great big things in Shreveport, Louisiana. They had a big film tax, $150 million film tax. They had a film tax, and they were about to, a tax credit that they were going to give to people for doing business. 50 Cent came over and bought a big facilities to do film, and he's got a new station, 50 Cent Action, with a bunch of work on it. He's got all of the stuff, and he was nervous that they were going to take away the film tax and then his money would be lost. But Louisiana backed the film tax in, so now they'll have moved it down to 125 million on the film taxes. And if you don't understand what the film tax is where they're the incentive for people to do films there to push money in their areas. New Jersey has a great film tax. I'm told that one of the best in the country. AC1 Studios in New Jersey. Shout out to Rob Schwartz. That's a big studio, formerly the Caesars Pier. It's now a studio, a film studio. So if you're interested in doing films there and getting your tax credits on the East Coast, that's where you go. And then Puerto Rico has a great tax credit for doing business and things of that nature. And people need that and those incentives to do business in these areas. So we are definitely focused on that. Well, but we're definitely focused on that, and also here goes Leroy. You there, Leroy?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay, yep, can hear you. We're waiting. We're just waiting for you. So
Good,
go
good.
ahead, go on and talk about what you were saying.
What I'm saying is that I think that right now, Black America and Black men and Black women are really faced here in a dilemma. And let me explain what I think it is. That when Obama became office, we were very critical of the Republicans that didn't support Obama. And we said very loud that whoever won, you should support him regardless of what you think or regardless of what you do. Now we have a situation. Do we still say the same thing that Trump has won? I think we should, because I think as an American, your duty is to support whoever won the presidency. And I think that that is something that, we're like, well, wait a minute. No, 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 no. That's not the rule we said. We said, regardless what you think, you're supposed to support the guy that won, the winner. So, so I think that that's a real problem that I think that we're having and toying within our community. And I think that we have to, we made the rule. I think we have to abide by it. Really, I mean,
Now,
it's
who do you think is holding us back from abiding by that rule? Do you think that it's natural, or do you think that just the party itself is pushing against it?
well. I think that just like we thought that the people that weren't supporting Obama were racist, we're all saying that the people that supported Trump are racist. So we're saying that, hey, because you're racist, you still should support Obama, but because you're racist, we're not going to support you for Trump. So that's where I think the core of the problem is. I
Now, did
think
you
that
see that Obama is actually the one that's kind of spearheading stuff and saying, I think that we need to support people that we don't like. And I think that's, in fear of them losing the little bit of grip that they have on the last bit of the last bit of Democrats that they have, looking at the country and saying the country is not for our messaging anymore. So do you think that Obama is doing that because of what you're saying, or doing it just to save the party?
I think he's doing it because of what he believes. Okay. And I think that he believes that because, he was a victim of that. You see what I'm saying? So because he was a victim of, hey, they didn't support me because of whatever reason, right? He's saying that, hey, we need to, support the guy, whether who he is or what he is. And I think that's right, because I think that's the American way.
Mhm. So tell us a little bit about your housing program and
What we're doing
what
is
you're
that we're
working
doing
for.
something very interesting. We've tied in with M&T Bank. And
Mhm.
what we're doing with them is that with 631 of their branches, we have an agreement that people that have a 630
Uh-oh. He was just about to get to the good part too. And I'll just, as what he was saying is that he is connecting with people with Section 8 vouchers to people. Oh, there he is. You there?
Yep, I think I'm back.
Yep.
I love
Okay.
technology, but it doesn't work when people call and knock me off. If you have a 630 or higher credit score, we will actually rather renovate you a house or build you a new house. And so we've started this program in Monroe, Louisiana. We had great results there. We're doing 50 houses there as we speak right now. We're going into Baltimore. We're going to do a few thousand houses in Baltimore. We're working on a program. We haven't gotten it all worked out yet, but we're within that. We're going to give the kids of these people, we're working on an insurance policy, and the insurance policy will have a cash benefit. And so what we're going to do as a company, we're going to prepay that benefit. So when the kids get to be in their 30s, they will have, let's say, maybe between $300,000 and $500,000. And so what this will do is it'll stop that being on Section 8 voucher for the rest of your life type of situation. Hopefully they'll take that money then, and I don't know what a $300,000 or $400,000 will be worth in 30 years, but I think it'll be worth something, and at least should be able to buy you at least 2 years in a junior college. So that's what I'm thinking, that we're working on that program with some insurance companies, put that together, and so on and so forth. The reason that we're insuring the kids and not the parents, because of the rules of the Section 8 program. And what we're doing is very interesting in Monroe, Louisiana, because you have houses there that sell for like $50,000. A contractor cannot build a house for $50,000. So the state said, hey, if you build a house in these areas, what we'll do is we'll kick in another $50,000. So now with the $100,000, it's enough money to build a house and put a new house there. And what it does now is it brings up the taxes in the community, and they can do better things. So that's what we're trying to do. And Baltimore, we're trying to push Baltimore to go to fenced communities, because what's happening is that people, when I first got into real estate, the first thing they told me was it's all about location, location, location. But that's not true. It's all about safety. People want to live where they're safe. And if they don't feel safe, they're not going to live in a community. So that's basically it. So, that's what we're doing.
That's what you're doing. And so how can the Trump administration help you do that? What should we be looking for or pushing in that way? How can the Trump administration help?
Well, I think they're doing it. I think the guy that they've appointed to really be Trump is a realist. And I think that, the fact that he's going to put a black guy there who has worked there before, who was there with Ben Carson, I think that's a good choice. I think it's a very positive choice. And I think he's going to have some great things come. I think we got a good program. And I think that with Trump, they're going to really run those programs, because those programs also benefit the black community and minority communities, but also they benefit business people.
Okay. I know that was.
And I think that if we continue to really, I don't think that Trump really has an incentive to really stop any of those programs that are existing. He didn't do it his last time. I mean, he made them stronger. He didn't knock any of them out. So I don't think the fear of him knocking out the program, I don't think that's what he's going to do, because, I mean, that's not in his line of fire. And, he doesn't have any reason to knock it out. So I think that'll go well. I think that, he doesn't have no real dog in that fight as far as Hood is concerned.
And how did you feel about President Biden? You're a registered Democrat?
I'm a registered Republican. But I got to tell you something.
Sure.
I go with whoever wins. I got to be honest with you. I go with the winner. And if you
how long have you been a Republican?
A long time. I started out in the Young Republicans in the early 70s. So,
really?
That in California. Yeah, it was really good. And and back when Nixon was in there, and that we did. I had a great time as a Republican. But now, I was excited about Obama winning. I thought it was fun. I thought it was great, and I worked toward having him elected. So I go with whoever. But I think that Donald Trump really, really, really has a a different point of view. And I think he looks at it differently. And one of the things that we have to realize that we're going from an industrial society to an informational society.
Right.
And that big move there, I think, is the Democratic Party is still talking about an industrial society, the unions, labor, and what have you. That train has left. Right now, we have to be an informational society. Data centers, those types of things there are going to be really what's going to drive our country. AI is here. It's going to be storming. It's going to take some things, and we got to tighten that up. So, I think that what he's doing with Musk and those guys, I think is really good. I think it's a real positive thing, and I think that we can move forward in that direction.
Do you think with them wanting to tear down uh, a lot of the systems like the FBI, like, them looking, I think it's a great thing, but do you think that America is ready for the systems to be teared down and put back together again?
Well, being an older black guy, I got to tell you, when I think of the FBI, I think of Hoover and Hoover's politics as it relates to the FBI and blacks. So when you talk to me about tearing down the FBI, hell yes, tear it down, restructure it, do something with it. Because I think that the Hoover good boys are still there. They're still running it. They're still trying to do things, so on and so forth. And they still have that Hoover type of mentality. Yes, I think it's time we get away from that Hoover mentality. I think it's time we move on past that. I mean, why not restructure? Everything has to be restructured, rebuilt for the times. Times are changing. When I was born, they didn't even have a computer. Now, look at it now.
And Cash Patel is President Trump's pick for the FBI. I told the viewers that I would get the name. His name's Cash Patel is his pick, and he's the one who wants to shut down the FBI, for a little while, and and get it back together and put the pieces back together. And I'm just not sure what I'm most nervous about is not so much that the country needs, to be torn apart. I think it does need to be torn apart in so many ways. And I also think that we really need to look at the justice system that President Trump experienced. And I think that the black community goes through every day is the tale of two justices. When they want to put you in jail, they will make charges on you and things of that nature. Now, President Trump had the money to fight it, but I think that it showed that they already had a system to where they're going to convict you and they're going to push you down the thing. Now, he exposed it, and I think that he exposed that part, and I hope that they do that for the rest of America. But what I'm worried about is the pushback. What I'm worried about is the people who don't want to see America change, the people who have people invested across seas and real money and real power that are willing to kill for it, getting in the way of this, and then we fall apart based on the fight and not so much the moral to the story. Are you stuck there, Leroy? Leroy got stuck. But that was great. That was Leroy Jackson. And I think that his commentary was wonderful. And how are you feeling about today? I'm missing you guys. Like I said, I'm here in Miami, Florida. I was out here doing for Art Basel here in Miami, Florida, on location for Millennium News 24. I will have some pictures and some footage for you. And again, I need you to tap in. I need you to tell me what you're looking for, because this is a new season of the New American Perspective here on Millennium News 24. And we are looking forward to 2025. Again, happy holidays to everyone. Happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, Merry Christmas. You don't say Merry Christmas. How dare you say Merry Christmas? Shout out to Vice President Kamala Harris, and I hope that she continues to push forward. And I forgot to ask Leroy Jackson, because he was the one that told me he thinks that they're going to run her the next time for president, and I think that's a lie. I don't think that they can do it. I don't think that they would get the support. I don't think that she would make the nomination. And we saw how many things that the Democratic Party did to get President Biden to stay in office. When we knew better than that. And again, he lied and said that he wasn't going to get involved in Hunter's sentencing or anything of the nature. And the first thing that he did was do that. And I'm sure that Hunter Biden, who has pictures of him smoking crack, and what I want to see is I really want to see, President Biden pardon some other people that have similar charges. Now that you have such sensitivity for your son, have some compassion and empathy for other people and other people's families who have gone for it. We saw President Trump with the First Step Act let many people out of jail who are doing very well and reconnecting with their families and building a better urban community for us. Now let's see President Biden do the same thing. Let's see the Republican Party recover. Even the Young Turks are talking about how President Biden and everything is ruining the Democratic Party, and how people are not enthused about the Democratic Party, and they've got to do something. So where do you go from here, Democrats? One of our former guests, Derek Perkins, he came on. He said he's ready to switch parties. That was the young fella that worked for Al Sharpton. He's very distressed about that. And he will be on next week talking about how he's ready to switch parties. So where are we going from here? This is the big thing that I want to know. I want to hear from you. You can send me something on Instagram at Jania Butler, JINEEABUTLER. You can hit Millennium News 24 on Instagram, on all services. Facebook, if you're watching us live on Facebook, send us a note, put a comment in the comment section, and tell us what you're thinking so we could talk about it and we could shout you out here on the New American Perspective. Because the New American Perspective is just not about my perspective. It's about your perspective. This is the New American Perspective for the new Americans. And we are the new Americans. Remember that. And so we have 4 years to figure ourselves out. And I want to figure ourselves out in 30 days, right? In the next 30 days, what we have, going into the presidential election, because in a minute it's going to be Christmas, and the next New Year's, and the next it's going to be the inauguration. What and where are we going from here, good people? So as we round out our time here on Millennium News, I miss you. I can't wait to get back in the studio and talk with you and start yelling and screaming. I can't yell and scream because I'm not in the because I'm not in the proper place to yell and scream. But I think that if something got me uptight enough, which I'm not uptight, since President Trump won, I'm a little more calm. Thank God for that. But we have work to do, right? When we see, a whitewash going across the board, as far as people, and like I said, Kash Patel, he's an Indian gentleman, Vivek Ramsaway, Indian gentleman, Elon Musk, he's from somewhere else. There's slowly people of color getting in, black woman, hint, President Trump gave you the blueprint. So, I'd like to see, some sort of push in the administration. And I think next week we'll also have on AJ Castamatidis, and we could talk about how she went to diversify the Republican Party, and it worked. And so now we just have to understand that the black and brown folks that jumped up for President Trump and voted and felt comfortable voting for a Republican didn't start this year. It started way before that, and we have to honor the folks that are doing that. We look forward to doing that during the inauguration, and we just have great things going forward, and I look forward to talking with you more. We have so much to talk about, and so keep your eye on this Jay-Z trial and what's happening with the NFL. We haven't heard from Puffy after he got pushed down for the third time, trying to get out in bail. He's trying. They had the FBI. The FBI got his paperwork. They ransacked his dorm room in the feds in Brooklyn, and he said, "Oh no, we're not doing that." Oh yes, they do that in in they do that in jail, sir. So they leaked his video, and they're trying to just cause a mistrial in any sort of way. But I think that we'll see Puffy in May, and hopefully he'll have some sort of defense for the things. But raping a 13-year-old girl, like I said, I don't think that they put their. I'm gonna say with Jay-Z, I don't think that he knowingly put his hands on a 13-year-old girl, but I think that he didn't care whether she was 13. And see, and that's the bottom line. And so that is our show for today, ladies and gentlemen. I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday at 12, our noonday. My name is Jania Butler. This is the New American Perspective, and this is Millennium News 24. Have a great day.